1966, Jensen FF and Interceptor, one of my least favourite cars. Established by the Jensen brothers in West Bromwich in the 1930s, Jensen's first cars were stylish, but otherwise technologically mundane machines. Even by the 1950s and early 1960s, their successes appeal and was more in what they looked like than how they were equipped. A great deal of contract work, Jensen built complete bodies for the Austin Healey 3000, link in the end screen, and tackled complete assembly of the beautiful Sunbeam Tiger sports car. The decision was taken to modernise. The result was the launch of two stunningly handsome four-seater coupes known as the Interceptor and the FF. By combining the existing Jensen tubular chassis frame with a vast Chrysler V8 engine and automatic transmission and swathing in a body style by Touring of Italy, the result was a modern-looking coupe with graceful lines, a great deal of glass, and a well-equipped cabin. This new Jensen, however, broke new ground not just for Britain, but for the entire world of motoring. By cooperating with Harry Ferguson, researcher Jensen offered one version of the car, the FF, with four-wheel drive. This and the use of Dunlop
Maxery
anti-lock braking was a massive technological breakthrough. To do all this, the drive was split in between. The main gearbox and a second propeller shaft was threaded forward alongside the engine, and the car's wheelbase had to be stretched by 4 inches to accommodate a front axle ahead of the engine. By modern standards, the installation looked crude, but it was a world first and remarkably effective. The FF was much more expensive than its rear-wheel drive cousin. In 1966, the UK prices were £5,340 and £3,743, at a time when a new Rolls-Royce cost just £6,070, and sales were always limited. It was the Interceptor which sold in quantity and helped give Jensen an entirely new image. Not only were these very fast cars, an Interceptor could reach 133 miles per hour and the FF about 130, but they were also easy to handle, enjoyable grand tourers, in spite of their bulk. By the time the specification had settled down, they had power-assisted steering, were effortless to drive, and the equipment had recovered 2 upgrades. Although only 320 FFs were made before production closed down in 1971, the older the Interceptor became, the faster it sold. By the mid-1970s, one version powered by a 385 British horsepower Chrysler engine could reach 145 miles per hour, whilst convertible and hardtop versions added to the variety. Unhappy with the efforts, after the efforts of the 1973 energy crisis and Jensen's other problems, which died in 1976 after 6,639 cars had been produced, and later attempts to revive the Interceptor, first in the 1980s and then in the 1990s, both failed. Technological aspects. Years in production, all types, 1966 to 1976. Structure, front engine/rear drive, FF 4-wheel drive. Separate chassis, engine type V8, cylinder, overhead valve. Original type, bore and stroke, 108 times 86 millimeters. Capacity, 6,276 cc. Power, 325 British horsepower at 4,600 RPM. Fuel supply, 1 down Dreadnought carburetor. Suspension, independent front beam axle rear. Weight, 3,500. FF, 4,030 pounds. And top speed, 133 miles per hour. So my thoughts on the Interceptor. The name is just fantastic, and of course it did star in a few TV series. My second uncle absolutely loves it, but for me, I'm not that keen on it. In my opinion, it's far too long, and the massive rear window just isn't my cup of tea. But at the end of the day, when I see one driving down the road, of course I get photos of it. I'm sure they're very nice cars to drive. It's not my cup of tea. And I thought somebody who was watching may have a story out there. Maybe their father owned one or their grandfather or something like that. So that's why I put the video on.